Hey everybody, it's low carb and keto nutrition specialist Amy Berger from 2itnutrition.com, bringing you, as always, keto without the crazy. It's been a while since I brought you a new video, so before I get into things, just a couple of business items to bring you up to speed. Number one, the Keto Made Simple Masterclass. There is a link below. This is provided by a company called Adapt Your Life, and I helped create the content of this course, the Keto Made Simple Masterclass. It is exactly what it sounds like. Keto made simple. Now, I helped create the content, but the person in the video lessons, it's an online course, the person who delivers the lessons is actually Dr. Eric Westman. So if you want to hear about how to do keto in the most simple, least complicated, most straightforward, and effective way, he will teach you the way that he teaches his patients in his clinic at Duke University that he's been using this method for 20 years. So enough about that. Check out the link below, Keto Made Simple Masterclass. Get on it now because it is not available forever. It is only available for purchase between April 26th and April 30th. So just for 5 days, there's a period of time where you can buy the course. The course is self-paced. So once you buy the class, you can watch the videos and go through the lessons at your own pace, but you can only buy the course between April 26th and April 30th. And I'll say 2021 in case anyone is watching this in the future. So anything else? Yeah, I think if I recall correctly, I may have done a video a while back talking about that course. If I did, I'll link to it below because it's going to blow your mind what this course delivers. You don't want to miss it. If you have been doing a keto diet for a while and you are having a very hard time losing fat despite doing all the right things, the Keto Made Simple Masterclass will definitely help you. You could also check out my book called The Stall Slayer. You can find this at stallslayer.com or it's also on Amazon. Okay, enough business. On to issues. Well, before we get on to issues, let's enjoy our coffee. In my trusty, it's a little, there's a glare on the camera, but it's my creative writing mug from Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. If anyone watching this video happens to be in the Pittsburgh or Western Pennsylvania area, shout out to CMU, my alma mater. Okay, why are we having coffee while we do a video? Well, because I felt that it was appropriate for the topic, just because it's a little keto coffee talk. As a keto and low carb oriented nutrition professional, you can probably imagine that a lot of people write to me who are struggling, whatever that means for them. If, maybe their goal is to lose weight and it's not happening, or they are trying to lower their blood sugar or their blood pressure, or just change their interaction with food. Maybe they feel out of control. Maybe they have a sugar addiction or a carb addiction. I mean, there's plenty of people who are not sugar addicts, but they feel addicted to things like bread or crackers or, bagels and pretzels and starchy foods. So I hear a lot from people who want advice, who want tips and strategies, like, why is this so hard? And frankly, that's a whole separate video, like actual actionable steps, strategies, whether it's physical actions or mental things to tell yourself. That's kind of a separate video that I'll do at some point. But this video is more about just something that I think you have to do before you get to all those other steps. Because I'll tell you, the reason I'm doing this video now is because this is something that I only very, very recently realized for myself and my own habits, some of which are food related, many of which are not. They're just other bad habits. I hate the word bad. Let's say self-destructive habits, unproductive, unhelpful habits that I've been in for a very long time, and I'm having a very difficult time breaking them or, establishing new patterns in their place. And it recently dawned on me that part of the reason it's been hard to let some of these things go is because I have not gone through the grieving process or the mourning process for them. I haven't had the funeral. And I think we have to have the funeral, but first we have to have a sip of coffee. Mm. And shout out to my fans. I don't remember their names, but a few years back, I met some fans at a conference who brought me this little silicone, it looks like a little tomato top, to keep my coffee warm. You stick it on top and it just keeps the steam in there so it stays warmer. They saw me put a little tea towel on top and they brought me that little gift. Anyway, I think when we have these, any habit that you have, any pattern that you're in that is harming you in some way, and it could be minor, it could maybe not even be harming you, but it's just something that you're not happy with, that you want to change. Or it could be very, very destructive and harmful. So it runs the whole spectrum. But whatever the situation is, we have these patterns for a reason. And one of the definitions of addiction, when they define addiction or they assess somebody for an addiction, there's multiple different criteria. One of the things that defines an addiction is continued use despite harm, meaning you're using a substance or a food or an alcohol or a behavior, right? Some people are addicted to gambling or pornography or social media or whatever. Continued use despite harm. You know that this substance or this behavior or this activity is damaging to you, it's harmful to you, yet you cannot stop doing it. Like a rational person, a logical person would not do something that they know is hurting them. So the addiction piece is like, you know this is hurting you, and yet you can't stop doing it because you are addicted. And the thing is, so many things that become addictions, whether it's food or alcohol or gambling or shopping or whatever the behavior or substance is, these things very often start out as something that is helpful for whatever reason. It could be that you come home at the end of a really rough day and you're very stressed out. And you know what? That beer really does take the edge off. That glass of wine takes the edge off. That bag of chips helps you calm down. That 2 hours in front of the video games really helps you relax. So all of these things start off in a positive way. They give us some type of, there's a reason. We're getting a benefit from them, and that's why we do them. The addiction point comes when that benefit starts to become outweighed by harms. And it could be physical harm, it could be something that is actually affecting your physical health. It could be something affecting your mental health or the way that you treat other people. I mean, this is like entire books have been written about this. I don't want this to be a 9-hour video, but so let's bring this back to the food. When people are having trouble sticking to keto or low carb, so many of the foods that make it difficult to stick to keto, the foods that we are addicted to, the sugary foods, the starchy foods, the sweet foods, they made us feel good at one point. They probably even still make us feel good for the first couple of bites, right? Even when you have an addiction, that first bite, that first whiff, that first smell. I mean, listen, I didn't become a nutrition professional for no reason. Like, I remember the sensation that washed over me when I would open a bag of chips and you inhale, and that such a fresh smell of that fried potato smell, or opening a chocolate bar. You do get a little rush initially. And even maybe the first couple of bites, and that when it's gone, when the package is empty, when the bag is empty, that's when the negativity sets in, right? That's when you start to feel the guilt and the shame and the self-loathing and the worry. Even if you don't have a physical sensation, which many of us do. Some people will actively get sick, especially if you've eaten a large quantity, but there is a little pleasurable thing. That's why we do it. But the pleasure definitely is outweighed by a harm. The reason I'm harping on this point, the reason I'm harping on that point about these things, at least at one time, possibly even still today, having served a beneficial purpose, is because this is part of the grieving process. Part of being able to leave these substances and foods and behaviors and actions in the past is recognizing and celebrating them and thanking them for whatever beneficial service they did provide us in the past. We turn to these things for whatever reason. There is always a reason. You might not know what it is. It might take a lot of soul searching. It might be something very, very deeply buried. A lot of people turn to food or behaviors or substances as a way to escape or numb out from abuse in some way or trauma. Some people, it could be as simple as you had a really tough day at work and you just wanted half a beer, or you wanted a bag of Swedish fish or candy or whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be something hugely deep. But my point is, there usually is a reason. So with that in mind, you can thank these behaviors and substances. You say, you know what, bagels, you know what, box of sugary cereal, you know what, chocolate candy, you know what, cheese, crackers, whatever stuff you were eating. Thank you. Thank you so much for being there for me. Thank you for getting me through those tough times. Thank you for giving me those moments of pleasure, however short-lived they may have been. I am grateful to you for having given me that feeling. Thank you for allowing me to escape temporarily. Thank you for giving me an outlet for feelings that I didn't know how to deal with, or whatever, And thank you for giving me a somewhat safe outlet for those things. Thank you for helping me through those difficult times, because clearly you did help me through, because I'm still here. I'm still alive. And so whatever food there may have been, whatever substances, they must have helped me through, because here I am. And so we can say thank you to those foods and those behaviors and those actions. And we can say, I'm so grateful that you were in my life at that time, but I'm going to move on now. I don't need you anymore. I'm in a better place. I don't need to escape with cookies. I don't need to escape with the alcohol. I don't need to mask my stress with sugar and starch. I have a more productive outlet now. I have other habits that I can use. I have other strategies and tools. Because when somebody dies, what do you do you have to go through that mourning and grieving process, right? You can't just move on and not acknowledge the fact that that person is gone from your life. Every culture that I know of, I'm no world expert by any means, but every culture that I've ever heard about has some type of ritual when somebody dies. And it could be a very sad kind of funeral type thing. It could be a happy celebration of that person's life, whatever. But there's some acknowledgement of the fact that somebody has passed and is no longer with us in the present realm, or whatever, however you think of life. Like that we can't talk to them anymore and see them and interact with. They're gone. And we need to acknowledge that. And but part of that acknowledgement process, every funeral I've ever been to, at least in the US, is a sad and somber time, but it is also a celebration of the person's life. We, acknowledge all the good that they did and how grateful we are for their presence in our life when they were here. So that's, I think, part of what we have to do to let go of our food habits and of our food addictions and crutches. we have to grieve. We have to acknowledge that they are no longer part of our life. We have to say goodbye, and we can mourn them and we can honor them. We can honor them for whatever good they may have done in the past, and then we move on. And I think that's, for me anyway, like I said, I just realized this very recently. I think that's why I've had such a hard time changing some of these behaviors that I know are very harmful to me. I didn't kill them. I didn't kill them and grieve and have the funeral and mourn. So I can't move on because I haven't done that. And I think you can do that in any way you like. And I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but you could literally make a little ritual for yourself. Have a little, get a little glass thing, have a candle, write the foods, like specific foods, on a sheet of paper, crumble it up and let it burn, in a safe, controlled manner, of course. You could have it be in your mind. You could have mantras and sayings that you sort of, bless the cookies and let them go. And like, I'm saying this with a straight face. I mean, we could chuckle. It's kind of funny, but if this helps somebody, like I kind of think this is a big deal. Like if I thought it was stupid, I wouldn't be making a video about it. But whatever ritual, like you could make it a physical ritual, make it an action that you go through to leave certain things in the past. Or like I said, just have it in your mind. Give it just a mental release and let it go. I think it probably helps to have some type of physical thing involved in it. It could be burning it. It could be, again, writing it down, but ripping it up into shreds and putting it in the trash, putting it through a shredder if you have like a home little office size shredder. It could be anything, but I think that is important. And the thing is, though, the other issue is, you don't even necessarily have to say goodbye forever, but if you are specifically having a hard time sticking to low carb or keto because some of these foods keep coming back into your life and into your mouth, then you have to operate by saying that those foods are out of your life for now. You don't have to say goodbye forever, because, I wrote that book, End Your Carb Confusion, with Dr. Westman, and we have 3 different phases of carb intake. The first phase is a very strict ketogenic diet, and the other phases are both low carb, but more generous with regard to total carb intake. So not everybody needs strict keto forever, but you might be aiming for strict keto for some period of time for any number of reasons. And so if you need to do that, you do have to completely abandon some of those foods, at least for now. So I think for some people, it's better to just say that food is out of my life, period. But you might, for you personally, it might be better to say that food is out of my life for right now. I might have it 6 months from now or a year from now. It might be able to come back into my life, but for right now, it can't be part of my life. It can't be part of my diet. So maybe that would be easier for you to mourn and grieve if you know that there's a chance you're going to have that food again sometime in the future. Not anytime soon, but sometime in the future. Like, whatever, people believe different things, different religions have different traditions. For some people, the process of mourning is easier if they expect that they are going to see their loved one again sometime in the future in another realm somewhere, right? If you think that you will eventually be reunited with your deceased loved ones, it can make the process easier because they're not gone forever. They're just kind of gone for now. So it's all a very personal thing, but I think that letting go is important, but I think it's also important to not completely demonize these foods, like, oh, those cookies were killing me, and if that approach helps you because it helps you stay away from the food, like if you operate better, let's say you have diabetes, it's very out of control, or PCOS, or gout, or whatever, non-alcoholic fatty liver, if you know that these foods are very, very harmful to you, or you eat these foods and you get a migraine, maybe it helps you to say, that food is killing me. I don't really like to operate from that sort of perspective. I would rather say, I really enjoyed those foods. I really liked them. They made me feel good, but they are no longer serving me. They are no longer giving me the benefit they used to give me, or actually, they are still kind of giving me that benefit, but it's so short-lived, it's so temporary. And the momentary benefit or high they're giving me is absolutely no longer worth the fall, the low that I get afterward. So, it's whatever you need to do to move on and grieve these things. But I also, the other part of this, and I'll probably make a separate video on this because maybe it deserves its own video, but I think sometimes part of the reason we have trouble abandoning certain foods and even certain behaviors, again, something I'm realizing for myself only recently, is that we make such a big deal about it. Like with the food, oh, my cookies, my fruit, Dr. Westman, and he has a nurse assistant that works in his clinic named Roy. They call him Father Roy because everybody meets with Roy before they see Dr. Westman. Roy is the one that puts them on the bioimpedance scale so they get the weight and the body fat percentage. And I don't know if he takes the blood pressure or what. So they go through Roy first. And he takes the carb confessions like, oh, Roy, I ate a cookie. Oh, Dr. Westman's going to be so mad. So they call him Father Roy. Anyway, why was I just saying that? Oh, because I've heard from Dr. Westman and Roy when they're talking to patients about this new keto diet they're going to be following. Somebody is going to have a little bit of a tougher time sticking to it when they use the word my. Oh, not my potatoes, my rice, my fruit, my bread. Not just like, oh, I can't have bread anymore. I can't have fruit. My bread, my bread, my fruit. So we make such a big deal out of it. And if we could not make such a big deal out of it, like, it's really not that big a deal. It's just food. It's just food. Stop making it out to be keto, oh my God, I can't have this and I can't have that. It's just food. Stop making it this huge dragon in your mind that you have to slay. It's just food. But the reason that deserves its own whole video is because I know darn well it's not just food. If it was just food, none of us would have any problem sticking to keto. Oh, I can't have bread or potatoes or rice or pasta or cookies and cake. And okay, no problem. Great. I'll start that tomorrow. Like if it was that easy, no one would ever have a problem doing this, right? So it's just food and it's not a big deal, but at the same time, it's a very big deal. But with these habits that I'm trying to change, and again, most of them are actually not food related, I have to stop building them up to be this huge thing, because the bigger I make them out to be, the smaller I feel against them, the more powerless I feel against them, when I have all the power. I'm the one doing these actions, and I can stop them anytime I choose. I'm just so addicted that it's really hard. So I'm going to plan the funeral, and I'm going to have the funeral, and I'm going to grieve, and I'm going to mourn, and I'm going to thank those behaviors. I'm going to bless those behaviors, and then I'm going to leave them in the past. So I hope that is helpful for someone, or if it's not, if you think it's stupid, I hope it at least made you laugh. Do check out the Keto Made Simple Masterclass. It is perfect for you if you are brand new to keto and you have no idea where to start because there's so much conflicting and confusing stuff and you don't know how to make sense of it. It is also very, very good for you if you've been doing keto or low carb for a while and you also can't make heads or tails of all the craziness out there. There's macros, MCT oil. What about my ketone level? What about this? What about fasting? How come I'm doing this and it's not working? we had a good mix. We've done our masterclass twice already. This cohort that's available for sale between, again, April 26th and April 30th is our third round. We've had, I think, over 1,200 people already do it. The results have blown us away, far surpassed our wildest expectations. But we had a good mix of people that were relatively new to keto, but I would say most people who did the course were people that had been doing keto, or what they thought was keto. We call it internet keto. They were doing like their own weird newfangled internet version of keto and not really having all that much success. And lo and behold, when they adopted the Adapt Your Life Keto Made Simple Masterclass method with, Dr. Westman's food list that he's been using for 20 years in a clinical setting, so like it has to work. It can't be BS, you know what I mean? Like it has to work. Lo and behold, the results are amazing. So wherever you are along the process, the Keto Made Simple Masterclass is probably a pretty good idea. And thank you for watching. I will see you next time.